I got something up. Is it on? Yo. Yo. Alright. So, the Salvation Army owned a house in Carmen Square, and it was called the Jubilee House. And there was a wonderful lady named Miss Dunnigan that ran it. And so Miss Dunnigan was the captain there, and Miss Bill, Bill and Sue Dunnigan. And so my mother ended up getting introduced to them. And when I was younger, they have a fellowship there, worship, youth groups, all of these different activities there. And I came into contact with Ethan and Caleb through there. But then at the same time, I knew they did a bunch of stuff like individually in their households. So they held youth groups and all of these things. And music was like the common thing that we all had when we was younger. And so that was like the one thing we used to play with when we was younger. And that's how I got introduced into their family, and I've just been connected with them ever since. Oh, oh, the one thing is, so of course I grew up in Boston, Roxbury to be exact, and was raised in Orchard Park. Grew up on Dentistry, and the culture in Boston is like the gang culture. So wherever you grow up in, that's where you pretty much geographically anchored to. And so, just like my older brothers, I'm just like emulating whatever I see them doing, and I'm following behind them. And by the age of 16, I ended up in prison for murder. And at the age of 18, they sentenced me to a life sentence. And so, yeah, in 2003, no, 2006, I was sentenced to a life sentence at the age of 18. And and so the second thing is just I was wandering around aimlessly when I first got up there. I was 18, young man, grown man's prison, not really knowing what to do, still trying to find myself, and like dealing with a lot of bottled up anger and a lot of emotions that I couldn't even name to be able to claim. So I was just wandering around that institution aimlessly, mass self-destructive, just doing everything that was like nihilistic, and ended me up in a deeper hole than I was already in. Ended up in DDU, solitary confinement for like 2 years, and a bunch of other stuff. But while I was in there, the laws in Massachusetts, as this regard come into play. So the laws in Massachusetts changed, and it was saying you can't give a person that was that age a sentence like that because we're not incorrigible and we're pretty much not irredeemable. And so I get to slip under my door while I'm in DDU, and DDU is like jail inside of jail. You got to do something bad to end up in there. And so while I'm in there, I get to slip, and it says you see parole in 2019, and it's like 2013 at the time, 2014 at the time. And so, but now I didn't dug myself in such a crazy hole. I'm like, you still got to be an eligible candidate for parole in order to, you don't just get it after 15 years. And so I'm like at war with myself, like, damn, I done dug myself in such a crazy hole. Like, but the number one thing I knew was like, I at least had to try because I had my mother, I had my sister who took care of me my whole time while I was in there and made sure I was had everything I needed and made sure I was sane. So I was like, let me at least make an attempt to try to get out of here. And so I just started being more receptive towards the programming that they had in there. I signed up for every program that I could, and ended up going up to finally get into a medium security prison, and they had college programs while I was in there. I signed up for the college program while I was in there. Tufts got a degree program, and I was able to get the associate's degree while I was in there, and then I'm like 18 credits short of a bachelor's degree now, and I'm finishing a degree at Tufts right now. And so, yeah, so I was in prison from 16 to 35. I was in there for 19 years, and but I ended up getting out in November 30th, 2022, and Caleb came to pick me up, yo. Yeah. I asked my own sister, I'm busy, I gotta work. I'm like, yo, I'm 19. What do you mean you gotta work, man? Job, man. Like, yo, come pick me up. She would not do it. So I called a person that I knew was reliable, and Caleb sure answered the call. Yo, this nothing. Came and got my mother, brought me some chicken and macaroni and cheese. And yeah, it got out. And so I got hold of two. And so the beauty in it all is so now that I'm out here, it's like I have these two identities, which is like the stone catcher, which is something I just read from a Just Mercy book. And Brian Stevenson was saying the stone catcher is the person that stands in between the one who's getting the stones cast at him and the one who casting the stones. So we are like the people in between catching the stone before it hits the next person. So that always stuck with me when I read that book, Just Mercy. And so when I got out, and I was figuring this social media thing out, and I was like, I put a Stonecatcher 147 on Instagram, and then everybody's like, Stonecatcher. I never explained it. I just started explaining it like recently. And so now everybody's like, oh, I didn't know it had it. So yeah, now it's like the stone catcher aspect of me. But then at the same time, I'm still spit. I'm still from dentistry, and I'm still going inside DYS's do my job, which is Transformational Prison Project. And I go inside DYS on Monday, which is in Middleton, Wednesday in Harvard Street. He goes in Harvard Street on Thursday. And then I go in there on Thursday to MTU, and I just kick it with the younger dudes and try to steer them in a better direction. I don't talk down to them. I don't talk at them like I'm coming from some superior role, like I know it all. I just sit down and kick it with them and have a discussion with them, and I see I'm able to have an impact on them, and that is like that's more valuable than a tough degree to me. I'm like, man, if I can get this dude to not blow another kid's head off, then I'm winning. You know, so I'm looking at it like that, and to be able to do that work, it's like I'm blessed in a sense. So yeah, two things can be true out here.